Hello everybody, my name is Dringer. I want to welcome you back to another figure review. This time we're going to be taking a look at Captain Rex. So, before we open him up and take a good look at him, yes, I know, Anakin is over there in the corner taken apart, but that is because his cloak is actually under repairs. I wanted to show you guys real quick. So I do plan on replacing them, but they are heavily damaged. So we have to put his video on a postpone until his leather straps get delivered. But like I said, this time we're going to be taking a look at Captain Rex. Okay, so I did move our Anakin out from frame because, I mean, it's going to be an eyesore. Our main focus for this episode is going to be Captain Rex, so let's get started. First off, let's take a look at his box. Very good art. I think I'm going to use this pose a lot because, I mean, it's his signature pose. I love that pose. You can see him with all other 501st. You can see right here on the side of the box, you can see Captain Rex with his jetpack on, posing in that. It's also got a Disney Plus logo on this one. If you look at other boxes, some have the Disney Plus, some don't. We take a look at the other side. TMS 018, Captain Rex, 1/6 scale, collectible figure. As you see from the back, very standard Hot Toys backing, credits, artwork. So now that we look outside the box, we can take a look inside the box and look at his artwork that he has right here. It's very nice, you know, it's all of his accessories using as one, you know, you got his blasters, you got his big blaster, you got his visor, you got his jetpack. I love this art, honestly. Alrighty, and now with that being said, we can finally take a look at the figure itself. Alrighty, now that we have Captain Rex out of the box, we can finally take a closer look at him and his accessories. I would first like to look at his display stand, because this one's actually one of my favorite ones that I've actually gotten from Hot Toys. Yes, it is the normal Star Wars display at the bottom with the normal plaque that says Captain Rex this time. But the difference between this one and the Ahsoka one, or the Obi-Wan, is that it's got a clamp and a posable stand, so you'll be able to pose him better whenever he's using his jetpack and whatnot. But I actually really like this because, like, you can pose him however you want, you know? I very much like these stands. So Hot Toys, keep using these ones, keep doing your best. This is what we like. At least this is what I like. So next, we could take a look at one of his smaller accessories, which is going to be his flashlight. So the thing is with his flashlight, focus. The thing is with his flashlight is that it actually is a piece to hold in his visor. You could take this and put it on the visor that we have right here. If you want to pose it with the helmet, this helmet, or just this one, you could. That's pretty much all it's used for. Yes, you could use just the flashlight if you want. You could put it on the right side of his head and then have his antenna on. Or, like I said before, you use the visor. Speaking of the visor, we can go ahead and take a look at that. I very much like it because it is very much detailed. This Captain Rex is battle damaged, by the way. He does have a whole bunch of scratches and scuffs, which I actually prefer that because it's not like he's a shiny. It's a great accessory. You can always put this on other Hot Toys clone troopers. I will show what it's like to have this onto the figure. We'll just show it near the end of the video when we're doing all of our poses for him. But next, I would like to take a look at his jetpack. So with his jetpack, I don't know if it's too accurate to the Clone Wars and whatnot, because this looks very much like a Mandalorian jetpack. Instead of like the clones, how they have theirs, I don't know. And I wish it could have at least been, you know, white, not black. The rocket, if you want it to, it can come out. Just take caution when taking it out. So if you wanted it to, you may look like he had just fired the missile. There it is without the missile. And this right here, that's not old paint wear and tear. It's actual like paint that they decided to put onto the figure. If you look at the missile, if it will focus, it is also on the missile. It's like rust. I don't quite understand why Hot Toys did that, but they did it. Another thing you could do for the rockets, if you really wanted to, you could put the flame effect onto the rocket itself. I didn't put it on all the way because I just wanted to show you guys. Very nice though. Any flame effect that Hot Toys comes out with, I always love. It just looks very cool and very vibrant, especially in bright colors and bright lights are shining into it. And we can take one last look at the jetpack. This time, we can show it with the flame effects. Because like I said, if you wanted to, you could put Captain Rex into a very posable pose using his jetpack. It's very cool. And these flame effects are universal, so if you wanted to, you could put them on other jetpacks that come with other figures. Say Boba Fett, for instance. Very nice. Alrighty. Just gonna set that right there. Next, we can take a look at his blaster. Now, one thing that people get wrong about this one, this specific blaster, is this right here. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get the camera to focus. For some reason it doesn't want to this episode. So a lot of people get confused on whether it's like a stock, you know, a support, but that's exactly what it is, a support. So once they're like, have it like that, they could put it down as a stand, and it's like that. It used to be able to go through there and be like a stock, you know? But I don't know what Hot Toys did with this one. Otherwise than that, I love this blaster. It's one of my favorite Clone Trooper blasters, at least. Alrighty. Next, we could take a look at his dual blasters. If you guys know the specific name for these blasters, let me know. Because I always forget what they're called exactly. You know, they're just pistols or rifles to me. Although I am a huge Star Wars fan, I do forget some things. But of course, you got the basic pistols that come with any clone trooper, ARC trooper, say like Fives or Echo. Standard Republic blasters. I love these ones too. They're very detailed. They kind of look like accurate to the Clone Wars, you know. Oh man. Sorry guys. My camera's just not wanting to work with me today. Alrighty, we got most of his accessories out of the way. Next, I would like to look at his hands before we get to the head sculpts. So the first hand I would like to get to is one of his left hands, which is like a pointing finger, you know. And if you look, he does have the scratches. Most people don't know, but these scratches are actually the battles that he's went through. Whether it's the Battle of Umbara or the Siege of Mandalore, there is a scratch for it. Next, we can take a look at one of his right hands. It's like one of his action hands, you know, he's like pointing in a direction, he's telling his soldiers to head out, or he's saluting, you know. It's an action hand. Next, we're actually going to take a look at one of his left hands, and it will be the thumbs up or thumbs down. If you guys would like, you guys can leave a like or a dislike. Let me know what you guys think of this video so far. And after that one, we can finally take a look at these two, which they're pretty much the same. And that's going to be his blaster holding hands. Let's get it to focus first. There we go. Very nice. It kind of looks dusty, but I think it's just battle worn, you know? The detail on it. But you gotta love these hands, man. Alrighty, now that we got all the hands out of the way, we can finally take a closer look at the head sculpts. So the first one I would like to look at is the Clone Trooper helmet. I do believe it's the 322nd. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. I'd very much like to know. One thing that I definitely like about this helmet is that it's universal, so if you wanted to, you could definitely put it on a 501st Legion Clone Trooper. If not, you could also put it on the Captain Rex figure himself. So with that being said, I would like to actually look at Captain Rex's head sculpt. So, in my opinion, it does kind of look like Tamora Morrison. I think that's how you pronounce his name. But I don't think it looks like Captain Rex. Yeah, I get it. All the clone troopers look the same. But I think with this figure, they haven't gotten it yet. I think with other figures, they've definitely hit it. Like the Echo one. I've seen the head sculpt for that one, and that one looks very nice. Alrighty. So now we have all those head sculpts out of the way. We finally took a look at the figure itself. Alrighty, now that we finally have a closer look at Captain Rex, we can talk about his detail and his posability. So I just wanted to point out, yes, he does have a green tint, but it's not as prominent as I thought it would be. You can notice it in some spots like his shoulders and his arms, or even like in crevices like, say, his leg. You can really see it there. But you gotta think about it. It's Captain Rex. He's got the experience. He's definitely gonna have battle damage to him. And I mean, what more do you want? He's not gonna be a shiny. He's not a brand new trooper, especially in his Phase 2 armor. And as you know, with Captain Rex, he does have the weld lines. In my honest opinion, they looked really great. I bet you it was really hard to make it look right. I don't quite understand some of it, like why is there blue in there? But hey, I'm not an artist. You could also see the weld lines on his chest plate, because this is a Phase 1 visor and Phase 2 top and bottom, Phase 1 chest piece. Phase 1 chest piece, the reason why Captain Rex kept it is well, it's harder, it kept more protection. In one of the episodes, he actually got shot in his shoulder plate. It was his Phase 1 armor, of course. And you know what? He survived. With that being said, I think it's alright with all the battle damage. It looks great. He's got all the tally marks for every battle he's gone through. Overall, in my honest opinion, this is going to be one of my favorite figures. His shoal, of course, is fabric. Great fabric. It's not leather, thank goodness, or pleather, I should say. If you wanted to, you could take off his armor. All you would have to do is pop off his legs and his arms and his helmet, of course. His shoulder pad does come attached to his, main body armor piece. But the pouch does come off if you want it off. But I think I'm going to leave it on. The visor can move up and down. And if you wanted to, you could pop out the sides right here, take off the antenna, and put on this visor. Or even the flashlight. But honestly, I don't think I'm going to put those on the figure. It's not like we see him use it all the time. We mostly see Captain Rex as is. But don't worry, guys. I will show a pose with him using those accessories. Overall, good job, Hottoys. Definitely a great addition to the collection. Alrighty, before we move on to his poses, I would actually like to talk about his articulation, because it's actually a big thing with his armor, because there's only so much that you can do. So starting with his legs, you got his ankle pivot. Move it this far down, this far up. Very restricting. Then you got his knee bend. That would be all the way back. That's all as far as back as you can go. And then this is as far as forward as it will go. And then you got his thigh articulation. This is as far as into the splits you can go without ripping the seam. Bringing it back. This is as far up as it will go. Very scary already. And that is it. That's as far up as I can get it. Now with pushing it back, that is as far back as it will go. And now with his abs, he goes not that far back and not that far forward. It's there though. And then you got his wrist articulation, of course. That's as far forward as it goes. And that's as far back as it goes. Like I said, his articulation is very limited. And then you got his elbow. That's as far up as it will go. And that's as far back as it will go. And then you got his shoulder. With this being right here, that's as far as up as it will go. That's as far back as it will go. And this is as far forward as it will go. Of course, you can try to do your best to, move it around and get it to point straight. But it's not going to be fully straight. And not least, you got his head articulation. Do a full 360 if you want. That's him looking up. Side view. And this is him looking down. Front, side view. Alrighty. With that being said, we can finally look at his poses. Alrighty, so now with the first pose, I do want to point out something. I only did this first pose like this because I wanted to show him with the visor and the flashlight. My problem with that is it comes out pretty easily. Like really easily. And I don't know. Maybe it's a defect on Hottoys end. But I don't think it's supposed to be like that. I did take off his antenna because I felt like it looked right. It didn't make sense to put an antenna with the visor when they both do the same thing practically. That's why it's honestly better to put the visor on a different trooper. But yeah, that is going to be the first pose. Alrighty, now we can finally move on to pose number 2. This is probably going to be one of my favorite poses. Like I said, I just wanted to use the first pose to show off most of his accessories, like his blaster, his visor, his jetpack. But this is honestly my favorite pose. It was actually very hard to get his arms like that. If you look, like, they're barely hanging on. And this shoulder pad is actually very restricting. So you can only bend it so far. In fact, I got some bad news. I actually had to do some repairs while doing this pose because while I was doing it, this fell off from the strap. Very unfortunate. I had to get it back on. I got it in there pretty good now. It's not going to come out, I hope. But yeah, that's going to be pose number 2. Alrighty, this is going to be pose number 3. It's a very exciting one. No problems with this one. This one is actually a really cool one. But I still want him lined up with the other ones. So I'm definitely going to not do this one for a while. Alrighty, now with pose number 5, I gave him the helmet that Ahsoka got for her Legion. It's pretty cool. Taking advantage of the, Tamora Morrison head sculpt. All together. Pretty nice. Okay, so for pose number 4, I will say this is the hardest pose so far. Not only was it hard to balance the Anakin in his hand, but it was also hard to balance the helmet in his arm. I mean, look, there is nothing in between that. But it is a cool pose. Alrighty, this is going to be pose number 6. It's a very nice action pose. And you know what? I think I'm going to leave him in this pose. So I want to thank you for joining me for another figure review. This has been Captain Rex. My name is Dringer. You can leave a like or dislike. Please leave a subscribe. And I'll see you guys all in the next review.